Now, this one is a tricky one, and I will spend some time on this because this is about, I used to always propose for decades a three-legged stool, different assets where one of the legs of the stool was always real estate to generate perpetual income. It's safe. It goes up over time. It generates tax write-offs. It's nothing but goodness. But things have changed. Now, this is going to be a deep one, but if you're into real estate and you're considering buying a castle, this one is for you. And again, it's deep. So warning you all, this is from Haas Subs. I'm 32 years old and currently have a $2 million mortgage on my dream home, which my wife and I consciously chose, understanding the sacrifices involved. I have a 30-year variable mortgage at a 6% interest rate. I don't know how you have that because it should be a lot higher if it is variable. So we'll get back to that later. My question is, should I focus on paying it off quickly, or would it be wiser to stretch out payments over the full term, considering the ongoing debasement of currency? And is there a specific interest rate threshold where one clearly outweighs the other? And for context, I also hold strong investments in assets like Bitcoin and Tesla, and your wisdom on this matter would mean a great deal for us. Well, thank you for the question, and I like these questions. So this is some stuff going on in real estate, and I'll set the stage with what's happening in the world too. We have a triple squeeze on returns, right? So mortgage rates are very high. You say 6%, I think it's 7%, but that remains to be seen. And if it's variable, it has to be closer to 7%. And this is affecting new buyers. And a lot of people have locked in low rates. Anybody in the Patreon community that was there in 2021, 2022, locked in like 2.5% interest only, 10-year fixed rates, which are killer to have. First question, answer to my threshold is about 7% on a mortgage. That's kind of like the top level where it doesn't make sense. Also, depending on where you are, property taxes are going through the roof due to higher valuations, etc., which is making things very costly. And insurance costs are exploding. Okay? In California, my insurance is 4x'd in the last 4 years. 4x'd. PG&E, 4x'd. Garbage, 4x'd. Water, 3x'd. The costs are getting pretty insane out there. And I've got the receipts if you want to see them. Let's talk about, that was the triple squeeze of how things are getting high. Now we're talking about the cost of rental versus home ownership. The home ownership now is very expensive, but it goes in cycles. So if you go back to 2020 when interest rates are very low and everything was kind of fine, before prices of real estate started going up, it made sense to buy a house. Now I'm not sure. Again, I'm going to give you a market that I know intimately. It's San Francisco, California, and these are all real-life data from there. I don't know what part of the world you're in, probably in the US, and it's over a $2 million home. For this analysis, I'm assuming it's $2 million, and the interest rate's 7%, and the city is San Francisco. But you can rent a $2 million home now for $6,000 a month, okay? Annual cost of renting, $72,000. Now, if you buy a home for $2 million, you got to put 20% down, sometimes even more, because mortgage bank doesn't want to be carrying the bag, 80% bag. So I don't know what you put down, but what's very important is there's a huge, and that should be 400,000 opportunity cost. You put that down on a property, that means you don't have 1,300 Tesla shares that you could have had instead, which will go up a lot more than your real estate. That's the opportunity cost of the down payment, which people just pay it down and they forget it's even there. They think it's disappeared, but there is a cost associated with that. Also, annual mortgage payment is 7%. Your mortgage payments will be $128,000 a year, and then your property expenses are nuts. So this is the model. This is the rent versus buy model. I'll share the updated version on Patreon later, so you can do your own research. And this has been around for years. I actually built this years ago, and I've been using it for decades. But now it's in Google Sheets. But the TLDR here is real simple. A $2 million home, all real data, equivalent rent, etc. It also includes the opportunity cost of the down payment, assume 7% mortgage, property taxes 1.2%, all that type of stuff, maintenance 2%, blah, 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 which depending on if you do it yourself or other people. So I put that in at $30,000 a year. Utilities, $4,800 a year. Insurance, Insurance, $6,000. And that's if you can even get it. I guarantee you, a $2 million home will probably cost $10,000 to $12,000 now. And that's just the way it works. So if you compare all of these outgoings, you're spending $192,000 on all of these outgoings. But it gets more than that. Your rental would be $72,000. But if you take into account your tax credit of mortgage interest, $38,000, you write that off. Also, your opportunity cost of capital with the $400K down is $29,000. So they basically net each other off. And therefore, your living cost per month is $18,428. Living cost after tax credit on income from mortgage interest, $15,200. Compare that to renting for $6,000. Your savings from renting versus buying is $9,234. And again, you can model this out yourself with your wife and figure out where you go from here. But my concern in this day and age, and this applies to everybody all over the world, if you are in Australia or Germany or the Netherlands or UK or Canada, doesn't matter. There are challenges coming. First of all, demographic challenges. I'm worried about the younger generations. You are a millennial. You are 30, 32 years of age. The aging population hold all the valuable homes, okay? Especially the multi-million dollar, the $2 million homes. I believe this market will be disrupted, okay? Younger generations face huge affordability issues due to stagnant wages, debasement, high mortgage costs, high housing costs, high insurance costs, high property taxes, and it's a real problem, okay? Now, my concern is this will only get worse in the future. Again, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything here. That's why I do these videos, to try to save as many souls as I possibly can. It's better to be forewarned. Forewarned is forearmed, or whatever they call it. But the point is, who's going to buy all of the wealth? So when you look at this chart, the boomers have all the wealth. The millennials don't, okay? The boomers have all the money. So if you look at this chart, it's like a year or so out of date, but they have nearly 60% of the wealth, probably gone higher. Generation X has about 17% of the wealth, and the millennials have, well, you can see they're 5%, 4% of the wealth. Who's going to buy all these properties? Now, there is a theory that the baby boomers will them to the Generation X, but then taxes will eat some of that too, and the wealth will disappear. Some baby boomers may leave their inheritance to these millennials. I'm not sure what the case is, but either way, there's going to be a glut, I believe, in North America of $2 million plus homes, and nobody will be able to afford them. Therefore, the price of those things will come down. So you'll be able to buy a lot more real estate for the buck in the future, if I'm right. I've been right so far about this too, because I already see it happening in California. If you are in a high-risk zone, nobody wants to buy a property because they can't get insurance. They can't get mortgages. Without insurance, you can't get a mortgage. It's like triple-edged sword, just really bad all over the place. Now, my fears, again, back to you and your situation. If you are killing yourself to pay off your mortgage and that leaves nothing on the table to invest, I would be terrified. You did say you have Bitcoin and Tesla bags. I don't know how big they are. But if they are small compared to your real estate asset of 2 million plus, you're overexposed to real estate. And that would give me pause. I would consider downsizing if you can. It's nice to have a multi-million-dollar home. I get that. But it's also a very big overhead. And the question is, if you hold it for 10 years or 20 years, it may still only be worth $2 million. It's not going to appreciate like other assets. So I hope I'm being very clear here. And again, I feel like I'm throwing another bucket of ice on somebody, but the opportunity cost could impact you as well. Now, what you can do is downsize, invest, wait 5 to 10 years, then get your $2 million home for a lot cheaper because nobody will be able to buy them. So it's like, again, it's like a big swing trade over a 5 to 10 year period. You ride the train that's going to move fastest, make your money, and then enjoy your lifestyle chips. Hope that makes sense. And just to share as well, the $400,000 down payment, if you are only 20%, you're probably a lot higher, is 13,333 Tesla shares. And this Tesla bag could be worth $3.6 million by 2029. And that's sandbagged, by the way. Sandbagged, everybody. The Tesla CAGR is 52.7%, and your real estate could still be worth $2 million. So again, think in terms of the opportunity cost. If you have a $2 million bag of Tesla and you have a $2 million bag of Bitcoin, and you have a $2 million house, I'm okay with that. But if it is skewed towards the real estate, I am not. I hope that's clear. I wanted to share that because it's so important to everybody. Allocations, probably the most important thing in investing. And then the opportunity cost of not investing, or the opportunity cost of not being in the market long enough, is bad and very costly. Like we've mentioned, cut the burn, invest. Not financial advice.